What is up, everyone? JD here. Got a new one in from KB Knives that I'm really excited to check out with you guys. So let's jump into it. All right, guys, we have the KB Knives stroller in this week, and I'm really excited to check this one out. This is such a unique piece. There's a lot here to dive into and to check out. You have all titanium construction. You have camo carbon inlays with a titanium pocket clip and a 50% length titanium backspacer that wraps around, multiple means of deployment, ceramic bearings in the pivot for your action with a frame lock and steel lock bar insert, and Damascus pivot collars. Whew, that was a mouthful. Now, with the actual blade itself and all the deployments, instead of your typical S35 VN, you're actually seeing 20 CV on this blade, and what a great blade shape. You got kind of like a spear point-esque tip out here, and you got a little clip going on with a lot of belly with this one. You have a fuller for your deployment with jimping that runs into gearing onto the back of the frame itself, so lots of traction here for your thumb or finger depending on how you're gripping it. You have gearing on the back spacer itself. That's really well done. I do love these inlays. They look fantastic. I hope they continue to use materials like this. You have, again, some milling going on the frame itself, and then again down here on the bottom, more gearing. So lots and lots of traction going on. I like the little Damascus pivot collars that they've added on here. You typically see these from something like Kunwu. Glad to see other brands starting to do that. I think it's a fun little touch. In addition to the fuller, you have a very well done flipper tab with tight jimping, and then you have a front flipper with really aggressive jimping on there that works very well. So very good detent, tuned very well for all the means of deployment, and it doesn't feel soft with any of these. Now for me, the thumb on the fuller a little underwhelming because it is so tight in there, but I think that's why they give you all of these other means of deployment, so that you're just using that fuller off of that knife for that reverse flick. You, again, plenty of gearing here to grip onto while you're cutting with it. To me, the most comfortable position is going to be 4 fingers behind the fuller. The fuller is a little small, so I actually go in front of the first knuckle and only use that when I'm doing detailed work. So when I want to move up to the actual clip on the actual blade here, I just use that first finger, kind of lock myself in, and then use the tip here for some cutting. Speaking of, I did take it down to the garage to do a little bit of cutting with this one, and the 20CV had a very nice factory edge, a nice geometry on that flat grind that goes all the way up to the top. About halfway through the blade, you do run into a remainder of the stock where it's cutting left for the cutout of the fuller. It moves through the cardboard very well, and it was okay in the pinch grip. The tip is low enough to where you can use this in an emergency or on occasion for some detailed work and trace cuts, but I wouldn't say this is ideally made for trace cuts. This is more of your poking task, and again, for heavier cutting, nice big belly, very, again, good flat grind, good geometry on it, and the 20CV seems to be holding up well. And I will say that is one thing I do love from Kubey. Their heat treat seems to be very well on all, or very good on all of their blade steels that I have tested or handled and interacted with. I've never had one that had a bad edge, didn't hold a good edge, didn't seem to hold up well, and they're not chippy. So I really do think they're doing good stuff over there. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons, and then we'll weigh the knife. All right, guys, so I wanted to bring out the Kubey Momentum here, and the blue line. Blue label Chavez Redención Street, which is more of a medium EDC, and you can see the stroller is a little bit bigger than the Chavez and a little bit smaller than the Momentum. I do constitute it as full size because I can get, with my double XL sized gloved hands, I can get a full 4-finger grip on this one. The 4-choil, a little small, a little tight, but again, it is intended for detailed work. Let's do a couple more size comparisons and then we'll weigh the knife. All right, guys, on the table, I have my Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight as my full-size knife comparison and the CJRB Echo as my medium-size knife comparison. And you can see that the stroller is a little bit smaller than the Manix 2 Lightweight, but I think it is just a hair overall longer than the Echo. Just a little bit, same blade length, but just a little bit more handle length on there, ever so slightly. Might be hard to tell on the table. Let me grab the scale and get these out of the way and we'll weigh this one. All right, we got the scale out and on, and hopefully you guys can see that one okay. Let's check the stroller out. 4.3 ounces. I'm not surprised by that. There's a few reasons for that. You got a nice tall blade. You got a lot of titanium on this particular knife. You have a 50% length backspacer on here as well that I think contributes to that weight. And then you don't have any relief cuts except right here on the inside, and that's because they have the cutout for the inlay in order to make that work. So they don't have any relief cuts behind it because that would be really hard to accomplish. But again, a nice tall long blade on here, a lot of steel that you have going on with that 20 CV. I think that's a really good weight for this one, so I totally think where it's at is good. Let me move the scale out of the way and we'll wrap up with final thoughts and impressions. All right, final thoughts and impressions on the stroller. I really like this one. I do grade on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. The things that take into consideration are going to be the fit and finish, the ergonomics that I encountered while using the knife, the performance of everything, including how the action was, how the steel worked, and I'm going to take into account the overall performance. I think the performance on this one was really good. I was very impressed. Normally, when you get a black washed or coated blade, you lose a little bit on the HRC, so I was a little worried of what that 20 CV was going to end up being like, even though it was just a little bit of cutting, and it really impressed. I expected to see something, and there was really nothing there to see. So again, very impressive. It is a little tight for me. Again, I do slightly hang off the back, but it is comfortable in hand, taking into consideration that you do have some type of a gearing going on inside and on top of the back spacer. So you do feel that jimping there. I think with gloves, it makes sense that that would be there, but it does leave marks. You can feel those grooves. So if you're easily irritated, I'd probably steer away from the stroller for that particular reason, or you could just knock down the sharper edges yourself if you really like that look. But I personally really like it because it locks you in hand, but it's not so aggressive to where I feel like if I used it for some long periods of time, the knife would start to feel uncomfortable. I can feel that it's there. I can feel my fingers kind of gripping into it and preventing myself from moving around. And again, if you were using gloves, that would actually be where this one would shine, because then you don't have to worry about it slipping around on the glove material. It's going to really double down and grip in that regard. Good access to the lock bar, great action. It has remained locked up the entire time that I've had this one, and the lock bar access along with how it's tuned for all the means of deployment are really good on this one, so I do like it a lot. I'm actually going to go 7.6 on this one. I think the attention to details, I think the 20 CV impressing. I like actually the gearing on this one. It feels more like a work knife, even though it is dressed up. So I feel like I could go out and use this, not have to worry about my grip, have it be comfortable without it being uncomfortable for prolonged periods of times. And again, I like a lot of the details on this particular one, especially the way that they did all of the attention to detail with the handle and the gearing and the knurling. I think that's really, really cool. The pocket clip does work really well. I was worried about that, but it does have good retention and nothing really catches on this because, again, it is on the outside of the knife. It's not going to affect anything in the pocket. Let me know what you think about the stroller down in the comments below. Do you like this one or not? I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're not interested in the stroller, just comment what you're carrying, say hello. Love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be appreciated. If you're going to be doing any shopping, I have affiliate links down in the description that do help the channel when you use them. That is up to you. Special thank you to my channel members. I'm out of here, guys. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.